So, he said slowly, what you're saying is that you finally realised the two of you are mad hot for each other, hooked up, then 5 minutes later, decided to stay as roommates who moon over each other forever. This he hadn't blinked at me throwing my queer angst in his face was one thing. That he totally misunderstood me was another. Okay, number one, we didn't hook up, not even close. And two, we don't moon over each other. The fuck does that even mean? Freddie wiped sweat from his face and eyeballed me over his towel. You've been surgically attached to him since you moved into his place. If you're not talking about him, you're with him. And I've told you 1,000 times how he looks at you. I scowled. And I've told you 1,000 times that you're a prick. So you don't want to discuss how you gaze at him the moment his back's turned? How you're a world away if he's anywhere nearby? Fuck off. Freddie snorted. I thought you wanted my advice. It was more that I needed to speak aloud some of the thoughts rioting in my brain before I lost my fucking mind, and I couldn't get a therapist appointment until after the weekend. Not that I needed Freddie's opinion or confirmation that I'd had it bad for Sam since I'd met him. That shit was about as far from brand new as Sam's grandparents' flower pots. I don't know what to do. I sounded pathetic, even to my own ears. Freddie's expression softened. He glanced around, then dropped down beside me and draped an arm around my shoulders. What would you have done if this had happened 2 years ago? 2 years ago? You mean when I was in the closet and getting my kicks from coke-fueled hookups? And whatever else you were up to on Grindr or whatever. What if you'd met Sam then? What would you have done? I'd never have met Sam then. He doesn't do shit like that. And you think that makes him too good for you? Jesus, mate. I read the other day that 80% of gay men use hookup apps, even when they're in relationships. Did you read a queer dude's BFF manual or something? No, I'm just informed. And just as well, as according to you, the BFF position is filled. I sighed. I'm not Sam's best friend. Why not? That's what he said, isn't it? Sam had said a lot of things over the last few weeks, and antidepressants made me shit at remembering every little detail. All I knew was that we'd effectively friend-zoned each other without a reason good enough for me to explain to Freddie. Which bit? Any of it. We were fine until things got weird. I want things to go back to the way they were before. Ain't gonna happen, mate. It was always going to get complicated between you two eventually. Oh, really? I tried to keep the sarcasm out of my voice. Failed. Freddie didn't give a shit. Really? He said. Look, I thought it was weird when you moved in with a stranger and didn't get your own place, but it made sense after a while when I saw how calm you were around him. It was like everything that had been bothering you all these years went away. That was the pills the quacks gave me. No, it was Sam. It was being around a gay dude without having to pretend you were someone else and living like a normal human being. Then you got closer. And by now, well, face it, dude, the only thing you don't do together is fuck. I tried to unpick Freddie's theory, to find the mistruths and plot holes, but there were none, because he was right. The only thing he hadn't thought of was the ugly phenomenon that had fucked me up in the first place. We can't be together, I whispered. The paps, the media, they'll ruin his life. It's a miracle they haven't already. You don't think he's prepared for that? I know he's not a football fan, but he knew who you were before you moved in. That if the paps figured out he was queer, he'd be in for it too. Sam's not stupid, mate. Of course he wasn't. Even using the word in the same sentence as his name made me want to chin Freddie. He knew it too. He got up and jerked his head towards the changing rooms. Come on, he said. Let's get some lunch.